agency would just have to check all applications as they came in to ensure compliance. It should then be able to process all applications very quickly and efficiently. And we would solve another problem. At this point, there's a major grey area. Where does the responsibility of the parish council end and NEPA begin? Nobody actually knows the answer to that one. So this would solve that problem too, because the local planning authority, the parish council, would also have to operate with the same national spatial plan. So it establishes a very clear planning hierarchy and solves another problem that we've been dealing with for many decades. We also recommended that we move away from our current system of development orders and adopt a modern system of urban planning. And I'll show you a few examples in a minute of how that's done. The advisory role we thought was actually incredibly important. And here's really the fundamental point about how you fix environmental problems. You don't really want to have to fix them with regulations. You don't want to have to use a policing approach. If you can fix problems with better planning and advisory services, that's much better than dealing with them after they've been created. If we'd had a proper planning framework in place, we would not have put people in harm's way. Now we have. So now we've got to develop evacuation plans for those areas. That's a major cost. If we had a stronger planning system, we wouldn't have made that mistake in the first place. So it's always better to try and solve problems by fixing the planning system as the first priority, and the educational side, so that people understand why there is a plan and why we have to comply with it. So the role that we suggested here, the advisory role, is that really this is about helping people fix their environmental problems. We know that a lot of businesses in this country are not aware of the applicable environmental legislation, and I don't blame them, because it's a full-time specialist job. And even more worrying, a lot of our exporters are not aware of changes in things like phytosanitary standards in our export markets. Some years ago, we had a case. We sent shiploads of fruit and vegetables over to Europe, and they were rejected, sent back. And our exporters were very upset, and they said, "How could you do this to us?" And the European Union said, "Excuse me? We introduced a new system of checking for pesticide residue, and all of your shipments failed." And our exporters said, "Why didn't you tell us about this?" And the European Union said, "We did tell you about this. We told you 3 years ago. You've had 3 years advance notice to come into compliance." And the exporters said, "Well, nobody told us." It turned out that the government had officially been informed that this change was going to come into effect. Nobody had the responsibility